Welcome to my channel Data Science Nerd. So today we are going to start a new series on SQL, and we will begin from the introduction to SQL, and we will go step by step and we'll cover the whole playlist. So first what we will discuss is the key topics in the SQL that we are going to discuss, and about that structured query language, what it is and how it is used in our industry, and what is the key significance of it. So the first thing that I want to know is, what do you understand by SQL? So before we go to the SQL, first we will go to that topic, that what is a database. So in a layman language, if I describe database is nothing but an organized collection of something like data or structured information. Okay, and it is stored in electronically form in computer system. So for example, let's say there is a company A. Okay, so the company A has a record of all the employees. For example, I will draw a table for you. Let's say this is a table. Okay, so the first record here is of, let's say a company has employee, and this is employee number or employee ID, we can say. This is employee name, and here is like salary. So see, what I have done is I have created a table where we have a database in a structured format: employee ID, then employee name, then salary. So when the data is stored in a structured format like this, it is known as database. Okay, now the thing is, this data is usually controlled by a system. Okay, since you have a database, you will definitely need a system, right, to like control it. So that system using which you will control this database, that system is known as database management system, what you often refer to as DBMS. Okay, and this data and the software that is being used here, DBMS. Okay, this is like together, when we combine both of these, it is referred to as database system, or we often call it as only database. Okay, so this is just a intro to our database, that what is database. Now if we move to, if you have often heard of RDBMS, which is relational database. Okay, so what is relational database? So let's say the SQL that we use, right? It is a nothing but structured query language. So what do we mean by structured query language? Structured query language is nothing but the data that we are going to manage using a software with our queries, right? So the software which is used to like store, manage, query and retrieve data stored in a database, it is known as Relational Database Management System, or RDBMS. The SQL that you use, like the software used here in MySQL, we used a software called MySQL Workbench, right? So this MySQL Workbench is nothing but a RDBMS, where we are going to like store, manage, and using query and retrieval, we are going to like manage all the data using that software. So it is a relational database management system. So what does the RDBMS is actually doing here? It is providing us a interface, okay, between user and application and a database. Okay, let's say you are a user, right, and you have a data stored here, a database. So what that relational database software is providing you, that data is providing you a interface to, like, let's say I want a employee ID of all employee IDs whose salary is less than 50,000. So what I will use here, I will use a query. I will tell you later that how will you use that query. I'm just giving an intro. Okay, so we will fetch those employees ID whose salary is less than 50,000. So what we are doing here is, what it is nothing that software which we are going to put our query, right? That software is acting as an interface between us and the application, means between user and the application, for managing, storing and accessing our information. So this is just an intro to that database and SQL. So what was first we are going to discuss in our database, in our SQL course? First I will remove this. So what we will first discuss is We will first discuss all our SQL query types. So if you are aware of SQL, you might be aware of it, what are the query types we are going to use. So some of the query I will mention here which are oftenly used. So first one is select statement. Then we have a select limit statement. Then we have insert statement. Update statement. Delete statement. Once we will get an intro of all these, right, we will go to our hacker rank. Okay, you should all make a profile on hacker rank and keep practicing there. As far as my experience is concerned, I have found hacker rank is the best platform to become a pro in SQL. After delete statement we have truncate statement. Then we have some statement for combining the result of our data. Let's say there are two tables, right, and we want to combine that results. So we have statements like operators. We have union operators. Then we have union all operator. Then we have intersect. We have minus operator also. So I will go one by one and I will explain all these SQL query types. Okay, so what does this select statement means? You might have seen some SQL queries, right, where select statement is used in the starting itself. So let's say there is a table. Okay, so we have a table and we have an employee ID and employee name. So let's say we want to fetch employee IDs for a particular condition. Let's say salary is greater than some amount or less than some amount. So this select statement is used to retrieve records from a table. Okay, what we are going to do, we will retrieve our record from tables. See, this might be very basic for some of you who are already aware of, but I have to take care of all those who are not aware of the SQL and are just going to start their journey in this data science and data analytics field. Now, what is this select limit statement? So let's say what we want, let's say we want to fetch employee IDs of salary greater than 50,000. Okay, but there is a possibility that above greater than 50,000 there might be a lot of employees, but what we want is we want only the top 10 employees whose salary is greater than 50,000. Okay, so what we will do here is we will here use a limit result. Okay, we will select the records and we will use a limit clause. Okay, limit statement to like set our data what records we are fetching. Let's say we want to fetch only top 10 records, so we will give limit as 10. Okay, so it is used for retrieving records with limited result. Now what is this insert statement? So let's say there is a table. We already have an employee table. Okay, where employee ID, employee name, salary are given. So let's say we want to insert a new column or new records somewhere in our salary or in our, let's say new, not new column, let's say we want to insert data in our employee IDs and name and salary only. So we can insert our records in statement using insert statement in a particular column, or we can add a new column also. Okay, so basically it is used to insert records. So what is update statement? So let's say we have an employee ID 10001. Okay, and there that employee name has been incorrectly inserted. So this, what does this update statement do? This update statement will update our table with a record that we want to update. Let's say we want to update the employee name in our table where the employee ID is that is a particular ID, let's say 1001 that I gave example. So in that particular record, we want to insert a particular name in that particular employee ID. So using that statement, we will use update statement here. So what does this statement do? It update records in a table. So what does delete statements do? So with the name, you might have got an idea that it is used to delete records from table. Now let's coming to that truncate table. Okay, so see, this delete and truncate are somewhere like almost similar, but there is a difference. Once you use a truncate statement, right, it will not delete that particular record that you want to delete. It will delete all records from a table, and you can't roll back that thing. If you have used truncate statement, you can't roll back that, and it will delete all the records. Now coming to union operator, what does this union operator do? So let's say there are two tables, okay? Both tables are employee 1 and employee 2 tables. So what you want to do is you want to like combine the result of both. Let's say you have query a first table and query a second table also with some particular condition that may depend upon the business requirement. So what we want to do is we want to combine these two results. The sets that we have got, we want to combine these two results. So it will combine two results. But what's the catch here? It will remove duplicate records. So let's say you have combined the result of two tables, okay? But for a particular ID, let's say there is a particular ID named 356, and you got that 356 ID in the table 2 also. So when you will combine that record, you will get only one ID, one 356 ID. It will not duplicate that records, okay? Now what does this union operator do? It does the same function. It will combine two results. But what's the catch here? It will not remove the duplicates. It will just combine all the result, whether it contains duplicates or not. Even if it contains duplicates, it will repeat that record that number of times. Duplicate records remain same. Then what does that intersect operator do? So let's say we have a table 1, okay, employee ID, where there are, let's say, 20 records, okay, and in table 2 we have 40 records, but out of these table 1 and 2, 15 records are common, okay, 15 records are common, so it will show only that 15 records, okay. So basically you might have learned in class 11th or 10th that there is an intersection clause in our sets and function chapter in mathematics. So it does the same thing in SQL also. So intersection of two sets or two result. Now what does this minus operator do? So this minus operator it will just subtract the result of 1 from 2. So let's say we got some employee IDs from table 1 and we got some employee IDs from table 2. So whatever IDs are present in table 1 minus whatever IDs are present in table 2, it will just subtract the results. Result of 1 minus result of 2. 1 means table 1. Okay. So these are some of the SQL statements and the types of queries that we are going to use while our writing our SQL queries. So there are multiple things after this also. We have comparison operators, joins, aliases, clauses. So clauses are like distinct clause, from clause, where clause, order by clause, group by clause, having clause. So these clauses have a particular sequence. They are used in a particular sequence. Okay. So I will tell you that also in our next class. This is just an introduction class where I'm just giving you all an overview. And we have SQL function also. After that SQL function, we have multiple functions like count function, sum function, minimum function, maximum function, average function. Then we have, you might have learned that Boolean algebra, right? Where we have condition like and, or. So here also there are multiple conditions present. So some of the conditions are like and condition, or condition, like condition, in condition, is null condition, between condition, exist condition. Then we have SQL table and views, where we have like how to create a table, create table, alter table means changing the structure of a table or changing a particular table. Then we have a drop table where we use to delete a table. Okay. We have a SQL view also. So SQL view, what are SQL views? SQL views are nothing but these are virtual tables. That means we have a particular table record, right? So it will like an image of that table. It will not create a table in reality, but it will be a virtual table, just like a mirror. Then we have key constraint like primary keys, foreign keys, then data types. So these all are things that we are going to discuss in our further classes. So I will cover from the very basic to the advanced level, and I will complete all the SQL topics that are required for our data science. So after this SQL, we will go to our, after we will complete this SQL whole SQL chapters, we will go to some basic of data analytics and some basic Python libraries like pandas, numpy. Before this, I will give you an overview also of Python, that whatever is required in our data analytics field. So first we will cover all the topics for data analytics, then we will move towards data science. So in data analytics, we will see these libraries, then we will, after completing the SQL, then we will go to one data visualization tool. So I will give you an overview of data visualization tool. Okay, how we are going to get some insights from a data, how we are going to transform data, how are we going to clean the data, e- how we are going to perform ETL transformation in a data, extract, transform, load. This is a very like major key topics that we are going to discuss. After this data visualization tool, Python and SQL, we will cover Excel also, because Excel is like a heart and soul. Just like SQL is a heart and soul, Excel is like a mandatory thing to learn for this data analytics field. And Excel is, you will use Excel everywhere, no matter which field you go or which field you are working. You have to know Excel in a much better way. Like I, frankly speaking, I got to learn Excel in my, like in my job only, when I was working 2 years ago, and when I started using Excel, I came to know that Excel is like a marvelous tool. I can't explain it in words that what a wonderful tool it is. You will definitely go, once you will go through it, you will get to know slowly. We will cover all these topics in, like I've made a like a timeline of 3 to 5 months to cover all these things: SQL, pandas, NumPy, Python, data visualization, Excel. After these things, we will move towards machine learning. So whoever people are interested in data science, they can go to that machine learning topics also. Otherwise, you can remain limited to these topics who are going to work as a data analytics field. Okay. So this is for today only. We will discuss tomorrow the further topics about SQL that we have already discussed. So thanks a lot, friends. Thanks a lot, and please do subscribe my channel. Thank you so much.